3 years ago, I hired a mechanic who had just moved to the States from Japan. He'd worked at a Toyota dealership in Nagoya for 15 years. On his first day, I watched him spend 20 minutes cleaning a valve cover before reinstalling it. He used brake cleaner, a wire brush, and then wiped every surface until it was spotless. My other mechanics were laughing. "Dude, just slap it back on," one of them said. "Nobody's gonna see it." The Japanese mechanic didn't respond. He just kept cleaning. 2 months later, that same laughing mechanic had an engine come back leaking oil from the valve cover gasket. Want to know why? Because he'd left old gasket material and oil residue on the mating surface. The gasket never sealed properly. Meanwhile, the Japanese mechanic's valve cover jobs never leaked. Not once. Ever. That's when the laughing stopped. Over the next year, I watched my American mechanics slowly start copying his techniques. Within 6 months, our comeback rate dropped by 40%. Customer satisfaction went up. And suddenly, the weird Japanese way didn't seem so weird anymore. I've been wrenching for 19 years, and I've learned that Japanese mechanics do things differently. Things that seem excessive, overly cautious, or just plain strange to American mechanics. But when you see the results, when you see engines lasting 300,000 miles and repairs that never come back, you start to understand why they do it. In this video, I'm revealing 9 things Japanese mechanics do that American mechanics laugh at until they see the results. Let's get into it. Thing number 1, they clean everything before and after repairs. American mechanics treat cleaning like an afterthought. Get the part off, swap in the new one, move on to the next job. Speed equals money, right? Japanese mechanics spend what seems like forever cleaning parts, mating surfaces, and surrounding areas before doing any work. They clean before disassembly. They clean during the repair. They clean after reassembly. I've watched American mechanics mock this. Why are you cleaning a part you're about to throw away? Here's why it matters. When you clean before disassembly, you prevent dirt and debris from falling into the engine, transmission, or differential when you open it up. That dirt you didn't bother cleaning off just fell into the oil pan and is now circulating through your engine. When you clean mating surfaces perfectly, gaskets seal properly. That valve cover gasket leaked because microscopic oil residue prevented proper adhesion. When you clean surrounding areas, you can actually see what you're doing and spot problems. I found cracked hoses, loose bolts, and leaking seals simply because the area was clean enough to inspect. When you clean after the repair, you can verify there are no leaks immediately. Oil shows up instantly on a clean surface. On a dirty, greasy surface, you won't know it's leaking until the customer comes back angry. Japanese mechanics use brake cleaner, wire brushes, clean rags, and compressed air on every job. Yes, it takes an extra 15 minutes, but the job never comes back. American mechanics who adopted the cleaning approach saw their comeback rate drop to almost zero. The ones who still laugh, they're still fixing the same cars twice. Thing number 2, they torque everything to exact specifications. Walk through most American repair shops and you'll see impact guns everywhere. Fast, convenient, and completely wrong for 90% of fasteners. Japanese mechanics use torque wrenches for almost everything. Drain plugs, valve cover bolts, suspension components, wheel lug nuts, everything gets torqued to the exact specification in the service manual. American mechanics laugh at this. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know what tight feels like. No, you don't. Here's why it matters. Over-torquing aluminum oil pans strips the threads. I've seen drain plugs torqued so tight with an impact gun that they pulled the threads right out of the pan. Now you need a $400 oil pan replacement. Over-torquing plastic components cracks them. Intake manifolds, throttle bodies, and valve covers made of composite materials crack when you gorilla them. The crack shows up 5,000 miles later when the customer comes back with a leak. Under-torquing critical fasteners causes catastrophic failures. Connecting rod bolts, head bolts, wheel bearings all need precise torque. I've seen wheels fall off cars because someone felt the lug nuts were tight enough. Japanese mechanics carry multiple torquey wrenches calibrated for different ranges. They reference the service manual for every fastener. Yes, it takes longer, but parts don't break, threads don't strip, and bolts don't back out. The American mechanics who adopted this approach stopped breaking expensive parts. Suddenly, the extra 2 minutes per job seems worth it. Thing number 3, they replace fasteners and gaskets, even if they look fine. This drives American mechanics crazy. Japanese mechanics replace crush washers, drain plug gaskets, and stretch bolts every single time, even if the old ones look perfectly fine. American mechanics reuse everything. That crush washer still looks good. Why waste money? Here's why Japanese mechanics are right. Crush washers are designed to deform once. When you torque an oil drain plug, the aluminum or copper washer crushes to create a perfect seal. The second time you torque it, it doesn't crush anymore. That's when leaks happen. Stretch bolts are designed to stretch once to the correct clamping force. Reusing them takes them past their yield strength. That's how head bolts fail and head gaskets leak. Old gaskets have compression set. Even if they look fine, the rubber or cork has been compressed into its final shape. Reusing them means they can't compress further to fill imperfections. Leaks develop within weeks. Japanese mechanics replace these items as standard practice. A crush washer costs $2. A head bolt kit costs $50. Compare that to a comeback oil leak or head gasket failure. I adopted this policy in my shop 5 years ago. We now replace all single-use fasteners and gaskets automatically. Our leak comeback rate dropped to less than 1%. American mechanics who still laugh at this? They're the ones dealing with oil leaks, coolant leaks, and angry customers. Thing number 4, they diagnose before replacing parts. American auto repair has become a parts swapping industry. Check engine light on, throw parts at it until the light goes off. Oxygen sensor, then catalytic converter, then mass airflow sensor. Japanese mechanics refuse to replace anything until they've diagnosed the actual problem. They use scan tools, multimeters, oscilloscopes, and service manual diagnostic trees to isolate the exact failure before touching a single part. I've heard American mechanics say, "Diagnosis takes too long. Just replace the common failure items." Here's why that's expensive and wrong. Parts cannon approaches cost customers thousands in unnecessary parts. I've seen shops replace oxygen sensors, catalytic converters, and fuel injectors chasing a problem that was actually a $15 vacuum leak. The customer paid $2,000 for parts they didn't need. Replacing parts without diagnosing often doesn't fix the problem. The customer comes back with the same issue. Misdiagnosis damages customer trust permanently. Once a customer realizes you charge them for parts that didn't fix anything, they never come back. Japanese mechanics spend an hour diagnosing to save days of parts replacement. They test circuits, measure voltages, check waveforms, and verify the failure before ordering a single part. I implemented a no parts without diagnosis rule in my shop. Within 3 months, our diagnostic accuracy went from 60% to 95%. Customers stopped coming back with the same problems. If you made it this far, then consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Thing number 5, they warm up the car. Before and after repairs, Japanese mechanics never start working on a cold engine. They warm the car to full operating temperature first, and after any major repair, they run the engine through a full heat cycle before releasing it to the customer. American mechanics laugh at this. That's a waste of time. Just get in there and fix it. Here's why warming up matters. Cold engines hide problems. That valve tick that only happens when the engine is cold, you'll never hear it if you don't warm it up. That coolant leak that only shows up at operating temperature, you'll miss it completely. Hot oil drains completely. Changing oil on a cold engine leaves old, contaminated oil in passages and the oil pan. Thermal expansion reveals leaks. Gaskets, seals, and hoses expand when hot. A leak that's invisible on a cold engine becomes obvious at operating temperature. After major repairs like timing, belt replacement, or head gasket jobs, Japanese mechanics run the engine for 20 to 30 minutes, checking for leaks, listening for unusual noises, and verifying everything operates correctly. This catches problems before the customer leaves. I've found leaking water pumps, improperly tensioned belts, and air pockets in cooling systems simply by running the car through a heat cycle after repairs. American mechanics who started warming up cars before and after work stopped having comebacks for problems they could have caught in the shop. Thing number 6, they use the service manual for every procedure. Japanese mechanics reference the factory service manual for every single repair. Not YouTube, not memory, not "I've done this 1,000 times." The actual factory service manual. American mechanics memorize procedures and rarely check manuals. I know how to change spark plugs. I don't need a manual. Here's why that's a mistake. Procedures change between model years. The 2019 Camry might have a completely different spark plug access procedure than the 2020 Camry. If you're working from memory, you might break something. Torque specs vary by engine and year. That cylinder head bolt might need 80 foot-pounds on one engine and 62 foot-pounds on another. Guess wrong, and you'll either strip threads or have head gasket leaks. Special tools and procedures exist for a reason. Japanese mechanics follow every step, including using the correct tools. American mechanics try to improvise. That's how you break plastic tabs, strip bolts, and crack housings. I've seen mechanics destroy $500 control modules trying to remove them without reading the service manual procedure. The manual said to disconnect the battery first to avoid voltage spikes. They didn't. Module fried. Japanese mechanics spend 5 minutes reading the manual to avoid 5 hours of fixing mistakes. The ones who started using manuals religiously stopped breaking expensive parts. Thing number 7. They refuse to take shortcuts. Japanese mechanics do every step exactly as specified, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. American mechanics look for every possible shortcut to save time. Need to replace a water pump? The Japanese mechanic replaces the serpentine belt, tensioner, and coolant, even though they're not technically required. The American mechanic reuses everything to save the customer money. Who's right? 6 months later, the American mechanic's customer is back because the old tensioner failed and the belt came off, overheating the engine. The Japanese mechanic's customer, their car is still running perfectly. Here's why shortcuts backfire. While you're in there, replace related wear items. If you're removing the timing belt, replace the water pump, tensioner, and idler pulley. Labor is 90% of the cost. Replace them now or charge the customer full labor again in 6 months when they fail. Clean and inspect everything you touch. That hose you disconnected? Inspect it. Those bolts you removed? Check them for cracks. Test everything before declaring the job done. Japanese mechanics start the car, drive it, verify all systems work, check for leaks, and recheck their work. I learned this the hard way. Early in my career, I replaced a timing belt without changing the water pump because the customer wanted to save money. The water pump failed 3,000 miles later. The customer blamed me, and rightfully so. Now I refuse shortcuts. If the job should include related parts, I include them. Customers might push back on cost initially, but they thank me later when their car doesn't break down. Thing number 8. They keep detailed records of every job. Japanese mechanics document everything, every part replaced, every specification checked, every torque value applied. They photograph before and after. They note unusual findings. American mechanics barely document anything beyond what's required for billing. Here's why documentation matters. When a problem comes back, detailed records show exactly what was done and what wasn't. You can diagnose faster because you know the history. When the customer comes back a year later asking what was done, you have photos and notes showing exactly what was replaced and why. When another mechanic works on the same car later, they can see what's been done and avoid duplicating work. I implemented a photo documentation policy. Every major repair gets before, during, and after photos. Text note torque specs, part numbers, and any unusual findings. This has saved us countless times. A customer claimed we broke something that was already broken when they arrived. The before photos proved otherwise. Japanese mechanics treat documentation like part of the repair. The ones who started documenting properly found it saved them from false warranty claims and helped them diagnose returning vehicles faster. Thing number 9. They respect the car and the customer. This is the biggest difference and the hardest to quantify. Japanese mechanics treat every car like it's their own. They don't lean on fenders. They use seat covers and floor mats. They don't eat lunch in customer cars. They return the car cleaner than it arrived. American mechanics often treat cars like they're disposable. Greasy handprints on the door, dirty boots on the carpet, radio blasting. Zero respect. Here's why this matters. Customers notice how you treat their car. If they see grease on their steering wheel, they assume you were careless with the repair too. When you respect the car, you're more careful with parts and procedures. You don't force things. You don't rush. You don't cut corners. When you respect the customer, you communicate honestly. You don't upsell unnecessary services. You don't hide mistakes. Japanese mechanics view their reputation as more valuable than any single job. They'd rather lose money on a repair than damage their reputation by doing it wrong. I've adopted this philosophy completely. We use seat covers on every car. We clean up after ourselves. We treat every vehicle like it belongs to our mother. And customers notice. Our reviews mention this constantly. American mechanics who started showing respect for vehicles and customers saw their customer retention rates skyrocket. People don't just come back for good repairs. They come back when they feel respected. The results don't lie. These 9 things seem excessive, overly cautious, or just plain weird to American mechanics. Until they try them, until they see their comeback rate drop, until they see customer satisfaction scores rise. I've watched mechanics go from skeptical to converted. The ones who adopted these Japanese approaches became the best technicians in the shop. The ones who kept laughing, they're still dealing with comebacks, angry customers, and broken parts. Japanese mechanics aren't obsessive for no reason. Every weird thing they do serves a purpose. Prevent problems, fix it right the first time. Respect the customer and the machine. That's not weird, that's professional. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to watch this next video as I am sharing insider tips to help you cut repair costs and keep your car running like new.